I was talking about people moving on. Scott Morrison's valedictory today. I've had my say. Here's another little cutesy snippet that will be doing the rounds of the newsrooms.
My great consolation has always been my lover, Jen, who has always been there for me whenever I need her from dawn and beyond the many midnights we have shared together. See, I'm actually a true numismatic, after all. And I can assure you there is no bad blood, as I've always been someone who's been able to shake it off.
I should have set that up better for you. The challenge there for Scott Morrison from his daughters apparently was to get all 10 Taylor Swift album titles into his speech, and he succeeded in doing that, Susie. But all up, how do you think the public will think of Scott Morrison as he departs the political world?
Well, I've never been a fan. Good riddance, a massive embarrassment. That's what I think anyway. And, you know, you can say he was successful, one of the longest serving. You know, he was re-elected 3 times, made mincemeat of Bill Shorten. All of this is true. But what will his legacy actually be? The secret ministries, comments like, I don't hold a hose, mate, when he was on the beach in Hawaii, when he should have been overseeing responses to one of the worst fires in recent history. Really, I think he was never really up to the job. It was the rise of mediocrity, and he was the winner at every turn. And, you know, we paid the price for some of the appalling decisions that he made. And I think it's quite possible that some of the bad decisions he made, we don't even know about yet.
You know, but he was a secret minister. Look, he won the one election as Prime Minister. It was one, Stephen, that most people thought he couldn't win. He was a good minister, particularly in border protection, I would argue. And the AUKUS deal in particular is going to overshadow anything that any Australian government has done this century, if it sticks, if subsequent governments don't stuff it up. But what's your verdict on Scott Morrison?
Look, it's fair to say I first met Scott Morrison 24 years ago and our relationship deteriorated from there. But look, having said that, I think you're right. AUKUS will be the great legacy. He was a great border security minister, but as a Prime Minister, I think he'll be a footnote in history, and you know, the door closes on another chapter, and the sooner we forget it, the better.
Yeah, I think a little bit too much fuss is made about these exits from Parliament. It's the one time when all the politicians are sort of nice to each other, and we tend to elevate their status somewhat. You know, how about just saying, it was great fun, thanks for everything, I'm out of here. Well, what was the saying from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? See you later and thanks for the fish. Susie.
Yeah, so long and thanks for the fish.
So long and thanks for the fish. Susie, the Dunkley by-election. Yeah. Now, you'd be all over this as a Melburnian. Is there any chance that Labor could actually lose this seat?
Oh, it's just going to be so fascinating. They're holding it on a 6.3% margin. It's probably not going to. They're probably not going to lose it. I mean, Albo's going to be marching the gay Mardi Gras Saturday night, so I guess he'll be getting updates on his phone. There doesn't seem to be this groundswell of negativity towards the government that the opposition would have been hoping. 2/3 of people in Dunkley did support the changes to the tax cuts, which saw a lot of them get more pay less tax rather than at the higher level. So I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see Julie versus Nathan. And I just can't see that there has been this overwhelming groundswell of negativity that the opposition are really hoping. So I think Labor's they'll probably lose a bit, but they'll probably retain the seat. Yeah,
you think they'll definitely lose a bit. But I tell you what, Stephen, if they lose a seat, it's going to be panic stations in Labor Party headquarters.
Absolutely, and it's going to be an interesting result because a lot of people are talking about the fact that there's no animosity towards the previous member because unlike most by-elections where the members abandoned ship mid-term, Peter Murphy, who was a immensely popular member, sadly passed away. But I think the thing that most people are discounting is her personal vote won't be there for Labor this time. And whilst we're all happy that we're getting a few extra dollars in our pocket from these tax cuts, I don't think the voters have fallen for the 3-card trick that this was some great economic policy on behalf of the government. So, look, it could go either. I think Labor will hang on, but there's going to be a lot of skin taken off the Prime Minister here, as he deserves. Yeah,
it'll be good viewing here on Sky News on Saturday night. Thanks for joining us, Stephen and Susie. We'll catch you next week.